This week's episode of the Inside Running Podcast is proudly sponsored by AthsVic. Stability has never felt better than with the GEL-KAYANO 30. Updated with a 4D guidance system for support right when you need it and PureGEL technology for softer landings every time. Visit AthsVic.com or your specialty running store to grab your pair today.
Your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? On the cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking.
Welcome to episode number 303 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. We've got a big show coming at you this week. Plenty to talk about at the World Champs. It's going on over at Budapest at the moment. A lot of drama over there too the last couple of days, so looking forward to chatting about that. Australian Cross-Country Championships to kind of preview, which is coming up this weekend. Croaks isn't here, but we've got a big guest filling in, and we'll do all the other stuff that we do each and every other week. Welcome to my co-host. He's just under 4 weeks out from the Sydney Marathon and the last Australian male we've sent to the World Championships for the marathon back in 2019. Joining us from Anglesea, Julian Spence. How you going?
I'm good, thank you.
That's good. What's happening?
About to go back to regular work hours now. So I've had my little move-in period this last week and now back to normal.
We had a whole week off to move.
No, I did go to work one day, but the rest of the time I did have to move, and I needed it. We're still not fully done.
Yeah,
it's hard work moving.
Yeah, well, you're telling me last week how hard it was.
Oh, that was Monday. That was only 2 days of it. Now I'm like 8 or 9 days in, and it's really beat me up.
Okay, we'll hear about it.
We're going to be hearing about this for weeks, Brady.
If you haven't realised already, Ellie Pashley is our fill-in guest host. She recently come second at the Australian Half Marathon Championships last weekend. Also third at the Gold Coast Half Marathon this year, the 5th fastest Australian 10,000 metre runner of all time. Welcome back, Ali. Due to popular demand, our Patreon listener survey, you're the most popular distance runner in Australia for the females. Congratulations with that title.
That's probably because I'm your fill-in host every second week.
Claim it.
I have to hear a fair bit about me.
Chuck it in your Instagram bio or something, can you?
Yeah.
How many of those responses came from an IP address in areas in?
I can't go that deep on Google Docs, but no, I'm not sure.
I reckon a higher amount.
Still open that survey, by the way, listeners, if you want to fill that out. There's some interesting questions in there. Which one of the questions is, who is your favourite distance runner in Australia, male and female? And Ali's winning. Not sure percentage-wise. I'll open that in a second and tell you. But what's been happening, Ali?
Did you ask who their favourite host was?
Host? No, we should have, shouldn't we?
Three? Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Yeah, I'm probably too scared to put that in. You don't want to come back.
No, you would have won, Brady.
You reckon?
Everyone likes you the most, yeah. Definitely.
Don't know about that.
Says who?
No one tells you guys these things. This is all the chat behind the scenes. The podcast.
Everyone this is the feedback I get. They say, geez, you're really funny. You're great. That'd be nothing without you. That's the first bit of feedback I get. The next bit is, geez, Brady sounds like a jockey. And then the third bit is, fuck, Brad complains a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah, but you only hang around people that are really pat you on the back, I reckon. You're very selective about having people that pump up your tyres around you. Kipchoge's back winning though. He's got 50.7% against Kiptum, 49.3% of who the listeners think is going to dominate the marathon world in the back half of 2023. And Ali, 29.9% of the listeners like you the most. Sinead Diver second, 24.8%. Jess Stenson third, 15.3%.
Yeah, Sinead said she was going to start ragging on me to try and get her her points up.
I reckon that has, gone up a bit since we looked at it last week. So there could be something going on there. But Ali, what's been happening? You recover well off the back of our Sunshine Coast last week?
Yeah, not too bad actually. I was a bit tired, but I was nowhere near as beat up as I was after Gold Coast. So yeah, not too much. Just getting back into it and bit of cross-country relaying on the weekend. So that was fun.
Talk about that. Were you happy with the result? Like a bit slower than Gold Coast, but I guess a bit of a different type of race. And that hill looks significant at Sunshine Coast, just looking at everyone's Strava.
Yeah, the hill is solid. Like I was a bit disappointed with the time, but after running that course, I actually don't know how we ran so much faster last time. Like Lisa ran 68.48 maybe on that course, which is just crazy because that hill is solid. I think this time it was a bit warmer than last time I did it, and I kind of just thought that the race would bring a faster time with it, but I think we were a little slow early, and then even though we were sort of going at each other, like Jen and I for the whole race basically, we couldn't quite get under 70. So I'm not sure, but it was a really fun race to be a part of, and like obviously a little bit disappointed not to win, but I knew, like, I basically did everything I could to try and beat her, and she was just too good. So you can't be disappointed with that, really.
Yeah, I read your Instagram post and you kind of mentioned Jen in there about how she's such a competitor and must be one of the hardest people to beat on the roads. But I guess the women's distance running scene, you could probably throw another 4 or 5 names out and they're probably just as hard to beat.
Yeah. I mean, there obviously were a few missing from that race, but Jen just, I think even like races that going into it you wouldn't think she's going to win, she just manages to come out on top on the roads, and like you can see tactically the whole race, like she knew what she had to do to beat me, and basically she nailed it. So yeah, she's a very good racer and like a smart racer too. I think she knows how to win and how to play to her strengths, and what other people's strengths are and how she needs to work against them, basically. Yeah.
Did you stay up there and get some sun for a while or straight back?
No, I actually flew back Sunday arvo. I'd been up there for a couple of days. I had to do a couple of things before it for the race. So, I came home Sunday arvo. But, the weather is so beautiful up there. It was 27 degrees Saturday and Sunday, and it's just, ridiculous that's their winter.
What was the temperature during your race?
I think it was 16 when we started, so
beautiful.
It wasn't
beautiful weather.
Hot out. It was
perfect weather.
No, it was like, it wasn't. It was much worse for the marathoners because it really started rising a little bit later. But it's funny, like even 16, 17, when there's sun on the road and the humidity, I think, has just started to go up in Queensland. So compared to Gold Coast, it felt significantly warmer. So I think. Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't too bad for our race, and I think you could have still run a really fast time in those conditions if maybe we take the hill out. But it's still I found it a little warm.
Okay.
How much climbing was there in the half? I should have a look at that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have a look while you do your thing.
I just looked at all the guys' Strava as well, and they were running like 3:15s and stuff over that hill. Which is slow.
Pretty big hill. Yeah. I've jogged over it, and I was when I jogged over, I'm like, they're not putting a race over this, surely. Like this is incredibly steep, but maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I think because it's early in the race. Like I felt like last time it didn't really affect it as much as it did this time, but because the rest of the race is dead flat, it's like a really, really fast course, but. Yeah, I think the fact that you go over it and then have to come back over it again, it is quite taxing. Like we were running sort of 3:25s, 3:26s over the hill, so quite a bit slower than our overall pace.
You ran a 3:31.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, over the hill. The second time you went over the hill.
Oh, yeah, we did too. Yeah.
But it was 59 metres, and that's not much for a half. That's actually pretty flat, really. That's a marathon, 120 metres for a marathon. That's really flat.
Yeah.
That's like London, right?
yeah, maybe London might even be a bit more than that. Yeah, that doesn't sound like much at all. But I guess the 59 metres is all in that hill.
Let me grab someone else. Let me grab
30
someone
metres
else.
each way.
Well, it's going to be good to have you here, Ellie. You've been getting slagged off a bit the last couple of weeks, so I'm looking forward to hearing your side of some of these stories.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Should be good. You want to take us through your week? Monday, I guess, is a recovery day, and then, yeah, you ended up at the XCR Relays on Saturday.
Yep. So, yeah, flew back Sunday arvo. So Monday, I just did 2 shorter easy runs. So I think I did 8 in the morning and about 7.5 in the afternoon. And I was just fatigued. My heart rate was really high. I wasn't particularly sore anywhere, but just felt a bit crap. Tuesday started to feel a bit better, so I did an hour in the morning and 6K in the arvo on the treadie. Wednesday it wasn't really a session, but we had a run to the barn. So the last 20 minutes, the idea was to pick up the pace. But to be honest, I felt like we were going pretty fast from the start of this run. So it was with Jules and Liam Hannes. So we started at Jules's house, kind of at the top of the hill in Anglesey. And then we did a pretty hilly out and back. So we ran mostly down for the first 8Ks and then turned around and started running back up, and then for about the last 5 or 6K started to pick up the pace. So we were sort of running 3:58s for the last 5K, but uphill, which felt quite a bit harder, and then 3:38 or so at the end. But again, all uphill. So that was I found that quite hard, actually. Jules was telling me how he was just jogging.
Well, I was, but that was pretty hilly. 300 metres in 16K. It's like a decent hilly run, that one. Yeah,
it was. But that was all right. Then just easy 6K in the arvo. The next morning, ran with Brady. So we just did some surges. We ran out and back from my house in Aries. We were doing sort of slightly different surges, so we were just yo-yoing each other and kind of chatting in between, which was nice. Friday, I just had an hour in the morning with 10-second hill reps, so just a bit of a primer for the race on Saturday. 6.5K flat in the arvo, not flat, treadmill in the arvo. And then, Saturday was the Ekiden Relay, so I had a 7.7K leg and instructions were threshold. So I wore my heart rate strap. I don't know about you, Brady, but it was pretty hard to try and run threshold effort on this loop.
It's pretty hard to run any effort on that loop.
Yeah.
It's the worst race.
So I did this a few years ago when it was the 8K straight cross country, and I actually really liked it, but this course was different.
Yep, other side of the winery.
Wasn't it?
Yep,
yeah,
completely.
I was like, I don't remember any of this, but it was basically like, at the last minute, I threw other shoes in other than my spikes because I've been getting a sore plantar after every race. After all the cross country races in spikes. So I was like, I don't need to do that to myself today. I'll just bring some other shoes. Anyway, thank God that was not a spike course. Did you wear spikes?
No, but I don't know. I feel like the first 40%, 50% of the course is, but then you did what, the 7K leg? Yeah,
we went you're basically on a trail.
Yeah,
you do that dipper, which is like full gravel trail.
Yep, rocky.
And then you're on a gravel rocky road for a bit.
Yep.
And
the shorter the leg, the more appropriate it is for spikes.
Yeah, true. There was still that trail, that big dipper hill for everybody though, wasn't there?
No, the last 2 legs didn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think they're like 5K leg and the 4K leg, depending on which division you're in, because it's quite confusing that every division kind of runs different legs, which is one of my questions. Like, so you guys are Division 2, you guys didn't have to do the 8K leg.
No, so we only have 4 runners, so our longest leg was 7.7.
But then the men, the Premier Division, Div 2, Div 3 and Div 4 had to do that leg. I can't make sense of it.
Oh, it's a bit sexist, isn't
That's
it?
what I was thinking. Are they saying like the Div 2, Div 3, Div 4 women aren't good enough to do that? Like it's too scary for them? Because that leg is cooked. The further you go out, it turns into a 20% gradient. Like
really?
There's a huge hill out there. Yep. Unbelievable.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty, tough, like for anyone that didn't do it, you basically start, you're almost downhill at the start on like a grass, but it's pretty thick paddock grass.
Yep. Which you need the spikes for that. Like you're trying to run around there in flats and you're like, this is terrible. I can't get going.
Yeah. And then it kind of, the terrain changes a bit from there. But, it was harder than I was expecting. So, and I was, like, I had my heart rate strap on. I, like, wasn't looking at my watch much because I was sort of concentrating on where I was putting my feet. And then I think I went too hard at the start and then my heart rate would have been too high for probably most of the run. But I was trying to get it to come down a bit on the flatter sections and the downhills. But, looking at it now, it's definitely way too high. But, we won Div 2, so we'll be getting promoted to Div 1 next season, which is good.
Have you got it sewn up already with 2 races to go?
I think we do, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I think we're winning by quite a lot. So
you won every round, right?
Yeah. So, we've got a good team this year, so that should be fun for next year.
So you need a good team next year. That's the thing now. You got to get... Because what, do you need another runner for a lot of rounds?
You need 5 for the Women's Premier, but, aside from this weekend, we only had 4, but I think we could have got more if we needed. But we've had, excess women every week. We've had girls running in the men's team some weeks, which is a thing that we've never had. Well, as long as I've run for Geelong for, we've never been able to get enough girls for a team, let alone had excess. So, So I think we should be fine with that side of things. We just, obviously want to be competitive in Premier, but I think we will be, even if we have the same girls we've got this year. Did the men ask you to run in their team this round, Ellie? You would have fitted in pretty well in that Premier Division men's team. They didn't.
Probably the best runner in that team, I reckon. They finished yet, your men's team?
Hey, do you know what the difference is?
Matt Gunther was eating ham and cheese sandwiches 10 seconds before he started his race. They weren't taking it seriously.
We still showed up, Brady. We
showed up for the last position, yeah.
You know what? A lot of teams don't show up. Haven't formed teams all year, Div 1 teams, and we still showed up. Got a few.
You didn't show up. Where were you?
Moving house.
Still.
You weren't.
It was so.
You finished by then.
Back to this performance, though. To put in some context, you've averaged 3:43 pace for 7.7k.
That's actually not bad.
I know, it's actually... But for people who don't know the course, you look at this and go, oh, how can that be so hard? 3:43 pace for someone who's just run a half marathon the week before at, 3:18s, 3:20s?
Yeah. I was actually surprised. I felt like I was running that slow that when I finished, I thought it might be closer to 4 minutes. I was saying to the girls on Sunday, actually, it's the kind of round that you'd be a little bit nervous if you were running a marathon in a few weeks. You'd almost sit it out, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's actually dangerous. I think they should scrap it. I don't think that's what people sign up for. Especially that dipper. There was people coming back with blood on their legs, and I think that's more like trail running, Spartan races, that kind of stuff. You don't sign up for that when you're doing cross country.
Is it different to last year? The dipper? The dipper wasn't that bad, I didn't think.
Did you you did one of the shorter legs last year, didn't you?
No, I reckon I did the dipper.
Yeah, it's like a trail.
Yeah, I did the dipper last year. That was all right.
It's pretty steep. But running through it at Ellie and I's pace is a bit different than yours last year. I reckon you were running 5 minute K pace through that. Because you were real unfit, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Coming back from knee surgery or something, weren't you?
I thought...
He's an old trail runner from way back there.
Yeah, the faster you go, the more dangerous that dipper is.
A lot of carry-on from the road runners here.
Well, I'm not sure. We're precious, aren't we?
Yeah.
So imagine cancelling cross-country because it was a bit too unstable underfoot.
Nah, I'm all for unstableness. I'm all for hills, but
you're not, though, because you don't run any hills.
Mate, I wasn't the guy whinging about having dodgy ankles at Bundoora. What are you talking about? That's you.
I wasn't complaining about... I was complaining about...
If you were complaining about Bundoora, this was...
This makes Bundoora look like a frat
Your
road
ankles
race.
would not have got around this course, Jules.
Anyway,
lucky you didn't come.
Big long run the next day, Ellie.
Yeah, the next day. So I actually only had 32 on my program, but Simone McGuinness, who Jules coaches, she was doing a 34K steady long run. I think she totaled about 40 Ks for her run, so she had a big day. So I ran the first half of my run with Bree, Chelsea, Eliza and Seb, like some of the other crew that weren't doing a session. And then I jumped in with Sim for the last 16K or so of her run. So we just were out at Freshwater Creek, which is not too hilly, which is quite nice after Saturday. So I ended up doing 34K on Sunday. But, yeah, that was good. It's when somebody else is doing a session, it's always like, I don't know, it makes it go quicker and it's nice. It's not that often that you get to jump in and do other people's sessions with them when you're not doing a marathon and they are. So that was quite fun. And Jules was out there too doing his big workout as well. So, yeah, so I think 142.5K for the week. So, yeah, I feel good. I feel like by the end of the week I felt recovered from Sunny Coast. So ready to do some training now. I feel like I've been racing a lot and I almost feel like I need a bit of a break from racing and just to get some months of training.
Okay.
You've been racing a lot.
What's coming up?
Yeah, I have been racing.
You did the half.
I've done 3 half marathons in the last 2 months. I've done XCR. Yeah, that's a lot, isn't it?
Come on, coach, go easy on that.
XCR. When did you race at XCR? I can't remember that.
Bandura?
I think he means when you've had competition.
Actual race effort.
Yeah, I've done a few of the XCRs.
Are you doing Burnley in 2 weeks?
No, I'm not racing it. I'll be there jogging or doing a session or something.
Yep.
I'm not allowed to race it, which, yeah, I think that's good. I was nearly going to ask you, Jules, if I could race it, but then I actually feel like I'd need a bit of a break from half marathons.
You do not need to race Burnley half. That's a nothing event.
What about the cross country this week, Ali? Not on the start list for that. Good prize money. You're the best cross country runner in Australia, but you're not going to be there.
Nah, I decided not to do National Cross. Same thing, I think, because I was going to be coming off Sunny Coast and I sort of I've only got a few more weeks till I'll start my marathon block. And I just want to have some weekends at home. I've also been going away a lot on weekends and I feel a bit bad to Joyce because every weekend that I've been here, I've had cross country somewhere. So I might just lay low for a few weeks and get some training done and help look after the baby.
I saw Joyce on Saturday and he was fuming that the hamburger he had wasn't that good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the local CFA cooking hamburgers wasn't happy with them.
How was the number of parking officials?
Oh, yeah, take it very serious.
There were 100 people, Jules, directing everybody where to park.
Were they getting it right?
Yeah, very formal.
Yeah, they were very, you'd be turning into, there were 3 people directing you to one section of the car park, and then a guy would literally be calling you in, yep, keep coming, yep, over to the left a bit. And it was just like a paddock car park, but it was, they were there in numbers.
The CFA don't fuck around.
One of them had a helmet on as well. Did you see that, Coyote?
No.
I don't know why he's got his helmet on, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny.
Have you announced any marathons and stuff yet, Ellie? Because I guess, or you wait and see what happens at the World Champs this weekend? Because this is where things get interesting, don't they? Got to get the time.
Yeah. Did I just say what marathon I was doing?
Did you? Sorry, I could have been getting carried away with the CFA gags. Did you, Moose?
So I'm doing Valencia in December.
Okay.
So it's all been confirmed now. I've got a spot. So yeah, December 3rd. So I don't know if the other girls would want me to say this, but actually myself, Izzy, Eloise and Jen are all doing Valencia.
Selection trial.
Yeah, well,
Kind of.
basically. They'll be Sinead and Lisa have got their times. They're safe.
Are they though?
Jess, I reckon they are.
Yeah, but is there a policy out yet?
No, the selection criteria is out. So they're not I guess, technically safe, but I don't think that there's no way Lisa gets run out of the top 3 with her 2:23.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
I was
That's
more asking, do
so
you have
fast.
to show form, closer to the event?
I'm sure if there's question marks, they'll make them prove fitness, but I wouldn't imagine it would be anything crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then, Jess obviously she's having her baby in September, so she won't do a marathon, I don't imagine, until next year. And then Leanne, I'm not sure if she's planning on doing a marathon at some stage as well, but yeah, Izzy, Jen, Eloise and I will be doing Valencia, all trying to get the time there, so that'll be interesting.
It will be. Watch this space.
Yeah, I think it's good too, head to head. I mean, it helps, it makes it easier for the selectors, really, doesn't it? If everyone's run times in the same race, it's sort of takes any question marks out.
Tight turnaround for Izzy. She's doing world champs
so
this
Izzy's
weekend.
doing world champs. Yeah.
Is it this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on Saturday, I think. So
Saturday. So she'll have September, October. I guess she's still got 13 weeks.
3.5 months, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's doable.
Yeah. Yeah. And this block, maybe, I feel like she's only sort of done a shortish block this time around. So she might, it's not like she's done a big, 16-week block or something for this. Yeah. And then, the other thing is, I guess, too, with all of us doing Valencia, then there's still the option to try and do another one early next year if, we don't get the time, or if someone has a bad race or whatever, there's still time. So it's kind of, I think it's good timing, December.
It makes that one a bit tighter, though, on the backup.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, you're going to have to turn it around in 3 or 4 months max.
Yeah.
And then it's also not ideal, pre-Olympics, but obviously we're all going to do everything we can to try and get on that team, and I think it's going to come down to the last couple of months, really, to see who gets that 3rd spot. So,
it's going to be fascinating. I feel like we had the same conversations leading into Tokyo. All the similar names going for spots.
Yeah.
Maybe
I feel
more
like
now
this time
too.
it's going to be more, I think it's going to be even more intense.
There'll be Hail Marys being thrown everywhere early next year.
Yeah.
Well,
there
it
might be
has to
some
be, doesn't it?
random...
If it gets to that stage, you really got to go for it, don't you?
Yeah, and there's even, when obviously it's not ideal doing a marathon in April or something, but if that's your chance to try and make the team, of course you're going to do it. So, I think it'll be fun for everyone else to watch. Probably will be a bit stressful to be a part of that group, but that's okay.
Yeah, how good's it going to be tracking that, Moose? The message groups are going to be going
Jules will
off
be
that
stressed
night.
out of his mind.
Yeah.
No.
He'll be more stressed than me about it.
I think you can remember the bets that I made last time around, Tokyo-wise.
Yeah.
I was betting on you, and you were betting against you.
Yeah, true. But,
You were the stressed one.
Do you feel extra pressure, Ali, considering you went last time? Tokyo, Sapporo? You feel like you got to go again?
Not really. No, I don't feel extra pressure. In some ways, I probably feel maybe less pressure because of that. But I think the one thing is, because that Olympics was so different, I would just love to get one more opportunity where it's a normal Olympics, and my family and, friends and Jules, people like that could be there, because that was, I feel like we just missed out on that side of it. So that's probably the main, thing that I really am gunning for.
Oh, yeah, we'll go
that
for sure, Moose. We'll go on a boys' trip.
I'll be there running, mate.
Oh, yeah, true. Because you'll get probably the Australian champs at Sydney Marathon, win the 15K.
Big points there. Big points.
Big points at Sydney, and then you just got to put a time on the board. Forgot about that.
Hey, Ali, no, you've Jen's beaten you, so has Leanne recently. Does that sort of make you wonder if you can outperform them to get this spot?
I know that I'm definitely not a shoo-in for that spot, and definitely not the favourite for that spot. I think there's every chance.
Who's the favourite for the spot?
Oh, So I reckon Eloise would have been originally. I think Jen has probably boosted her since Gold Coast, and then I mean, she's getting better and better. I think she's probably looking a good chance. But then I also think Izzy I actually reckon Izzy's probably, in my mind, the one that I think is most likely to get that spot.
Well, you are a gambler, so who would you put money on for the spot?
Haven't even mentioned Leanne.
Well, Leanne, the thing with Leanne is because she hasn't done a marathon yet, I guess it's a bit unknown. Well, she's got the fastest half marathon time of all of us. And I do think she would translate to a marathon very well. Like, her strength in the 10K, the half, cross country, I actually think she's going to make a really, really good marathoner. And I don't think she's going to have trouble transitioning. But just without that one on the board, I guess there's always, But I don't know. God, that's a really hard question. If Leanne does one this year and does a good one, I think she'd be the favourite for that third spot.
Leanne should go to Melbourne, win it, get 20 grand, run 2:28, and then go put one on the board. Learn the event at Melbourne, then go run a fast one in Japan in Feb.
Yeah, that probably would be a good plan.
Have a crack at it.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually think if you put all of us together, and then if you throw Jess in as well, like, it would be really hard to pick who's going to have that spot. We're all like fairly evenly matched as far as times go for the 10K half marathon. Like, I think it's going to be, it's just going to be who has a really good day, an uninterrupted build up. Do
you think it will come down to discretion? Like, say you all do get the time, will they just go the third fastest behind Sinead and Lisa? Or
I think so. Yeah, I think unless someone's injured or something. I think Jess is. I still don't think they'd put her in the team though unless she had the third fastest time.
Yeah, okay.
Because I think that sort of creates controversy, doesn't it? Like, if somebody was injured or something, then maybe they go off head-to-heads in other races if they're questioning it. But I think otherwise they'll just pick the person with the next fastest time. And I do think more than one of us will run the qualifier. So I don't think it's going to come down to points, even though, I know that's always a possibility, but I actually think at least two more people will have the time on the board, possibly more.
Remind me what the qualifier is.
2:26.50.
50, yeah.
Yeah.
World Champs was 2:28, wasn't it?
Yeah, World Champs, yeah.
All
so
right.
it's fast, but I think that, I don't think it's out of the question for the group of girls that are all going for it.
It's going to be interesting. Moose, take us through your week.
All right, my week. Let me just pull that up. I did a couple of runs on Monday morning. So just one run Monday morning, 31 minutes, 4:56 pace. So very cruisy on this run. And then in the afternoon, half an hour at 4:45s. So very cruisy Monday. Coming off the back of Sunday, that's like a total of 13K. So pretty cruisy this. I ran on Tuesday morning out on, actually, if you have a look at this map, you might see that I can join up to Ali's Road around the back, around the inland area of the Surf Coast here. So my run here was out and back on Distillery Creek Road, which is often the road that Ali will do her workouts out on or do our easy runs. And so I went out and back on this, but it's a lot hillier at my end. So I ran 58 minutes. I went a bit quick on this run. I'm not sure why I did that, but I started to get going towards the end. It was maybe I don't know, a bit charged this run for whatever reason. So the way home, I did get moving, like gap paces, well under 4 minutes.
3:42, 3:43.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I did that. I felt good, to be honest. Like I felt like my heart rate was pretty low. The weather it felt like 3 degrees, but the sun was out and I wasn't cold. It just felt everything was going all right today. And I didn't run that. Actually, I did run that afternoon. So that afternoon, I ran from the new house and I decided to go down this double loop that I used to do when I lived at home. And I used to do it when I used to play footy. This was like a loop I would always do. So it's nearly 7K, and it's fucking hillier than I thought. Like for a double, it was actually really tough. You go down a trail, you run along the beach a little bit, which is nice. You cross the Great Ocean Road, and then you recross the Great Ocean Road to go back up the hill, but it's pretty nasty little hill. And for a second run, I was struggling a bit, and my glutes were cooked from moving house. Like the house we live at is about 20% gradient up the side of it, and I was just moving stuff up and down all day, so it was rough. It was there that I realized what I was doing was pretty stupid. Next morning, I did that run with Ali, that run to the barn thing. I felt pretty shit actually. We started a bit later. Not sure what time we started, but I should have had breakfast. I forgot to have breakfast, and I had already walked the dog, and then I just felt really hungry, and I felt quite flat on this run, but the legs felt good.
You were pushing the pace though from early.
Yeah, I think it was just trying to get away from you and Liam talking absolute garbage chat. And we dropped Liam off, so the chat ended. He didn't keep up, and you didn't keep up either at the end of it. But I felt fine. And then the next day, I felt flat as. And funnily enough, like when you push the hills on 2 days in a row, you start to feel the consequence of it. And I definitely felt the consequence the next day, because I did a workout, but I felt just horrible. Like I was flat. My muscles were flat. Like my glutes were junky, my lower back was tight, my hemis were tight, and I just had no real motivation to get this done. And so I ran around the top of the block that I kind of live at, and it's an up and down here. You can sort of see I go up, I go down, then I go up, then I go down, then I go up. The workout I did was like a little combo workout. I didn't really have it in me to do anything like an hour's worth that I was planning, so I cut the workout back. I did 2 sets of 8-minute threshold, then I went into 3 by 1 minute solid reps. The breaks that I had were 90 seconds after the thresh and 60 seconds between the 1 minute reps. How I felt depended on whether I was going uphill or downhill, really. The 317 was downhill for the first threshold rep, and then I ran 303, 257, 256 for the 1 minute repeats, and then 316 for the next threshold. But that was up a pretty big, well, it wasn't a big hill, but it climbed 22 meters within that 8 minutes. So that's enough to really feel. And then 252, 304, 251 going back down the hill. So I got the workout done, even though it just felt pretty awful, which these workouts during a marathon block of training, I don't think these should feel very good. And it's very rare that you can get up for hard 1 minute repeats during a marathon block. I haven't been training that type of system. I haven't been really doing my strides anymore. That started to fall off the back, like given I'm so sort of busy and time pressed. I'm just running and then finishing the runs and going in the house when maybe I should be doing some strides. But it was okay. Like I got it done. It was not a disaster by any means. And then I look forward to the next workout, which was on Sunday.
It doesn't really matter either, does it? Like your splits for those ones, you know, you're working hard, your legs feel tired and heavy because you're in a marathon block, and then that's like, you know, it's done. It doesn't, you don't get too caught up on
Nah, you don't.
paces and stuff.
I was not even looking at pace during the repeats actually. Like I've lost my heart rate monitor through the move, so I haven't been wearing heart rate for any of these workouts, which isn't a bad thing. Probably could have had it on for the threshold reps here. It would have been helpful, but it wasn't a big deal.
Often your legs feel worse than your heart rate, don't you think, though? Like when you're coming off those big weekends, like your legs are too tired to run fast enough to get your heart rate up that much anyway.
100%. That was the problem with this workout, legs. I couldn't, that first 8 minutes downhill, I just couldn't get my legs turned over fast enough. That it was just a junky feel rather than geez, I'm out of gas, or I'm puffed, this is too fast. I just felt uncoordinated. I also wore the Alpha Fly for this, and I haven't put that on in ages, and I really didn't like it. I felt like it was quite sloppy and clunky underfoot, especially trying to run faster in it. So I've been doing a heap of work in the Vaporfly Next Percent 3, and that's a smooth, silky feel, whereas this one I felt was clunky. So yeah, I've sort of decided on my marathon shoe would be the Vaporfly. I did a treadie run on my new treadie in the evening, and this one's from the store. So these are Techno Gym Excite Run 700s. That's the type of treadie it is. I had one. I had a new one delivered to the store, and I had this one from the store taken to my house, and I chucked it on 12k an hour, which is 5 minutes a k, and it felt really fast from the gun. It felt like it wasn't 5 minutes a k, because I run 5 minutes a k on my RG runs pretty often, and this was working. My legs were ticking over here, and the watch, I have a Garmin, and it doesn't have me put the pace in like the Coros does. The Coros, when you do a treadmill run, asks you what the treadmill pace is, whereas the Garmin sort of goes off your arm swing, and the arm swing, which I guess is being calibrated to my running, was telling me I was running 410s, but I don't think I was going that fast. I ended up running it said I was running 420, for a 5 minute pace on the treadie. I didn't know what to believe, so I went off the treadie. But then I asked Toby, who's been on the treadies at work a fair bit, and he said, oh no, those things are fucking way off. Those things feel really fast. So if someone tells you, if a customer comes in and says, oh, I normally run 5 minute pace, he normally puts it on 6 minute pace, and that's the right type of feel. So I need to adjust that for the future. That next morning, I just ran 10k in the morning, and that was a bit of a down day. I was kind of feeling a bit beat up, and I went to work that day. So my Garmin's been fucking up a little bit when I listen to music. Sometimes I try to change what I'm listening to mid-run, and it freezes and resets, and it's pretty annoying. So that happened on this run. It takes about 3 or 4 minutes to restart again, and then I can't get the music going again until I stop the run back at home and re-sync it.
So do you stop running while it restarts, or do you just keep running?
I kept running today on this one. I didn't have enough time to stop, so I lost 400 meters or something, maybe 500.
And then do you
do a manual upload?
Out?
I didn't manual upload.
What's the minimum for a manual upload?
Oh, K.
Yeah. I agree.
Not uploading less than a K.
You'd let a K go here or there.
Nah, Ks are important when you're at my mileage. Take every K you can get. Actually, speaking of that, I was on the Strava before looking at your run, Ellie, and I was looking at so do you reckon you run more hills than I do?
I've already looked at this. I already looked at this a couple of weeks ago when you were saying that I'm soft and I run too much flat. And then I was like, oh, I bet I run more hills than him in a week. And then I looked yours up and you do way more.
Way more? Like a fucking shitload more than you do.
Yeah, I know. I was actually surprised.
And I think that proves my point.
Yeah. That's why I didn't tell you that. That's why I didn't come back at your comment about me not doing enough hills. Once I looked it up, I realised you were right, and I just went quiet on it.
Yeah, that disappeared. But it's not often I get a little win like that. I didn't even realise I had a little win.
Well, how much climbing do you think you need to do in a week, though?
Ask Brady.
Yeah, I don't do any, Ali, and I can still beat him in a cross-country race.
That's true. Yeah.
What's your Let's talk marathon PBs. Maybe you don't watch the marathon.
Don't need to mention that. Talk about 5K and 10K half marathon. Nah, I do think
there's also a point where it's too much, though.
Affects the quality of the other days.
Because it's different. Running hills is different as well. Like, yeah.
What do you mean different?
Well, it's you're using different muscles, and you don't want to spend the majority of your time doing that. Like, if you look at a trail runner's body compared to a road marathoner, it's quite different. Do you know what I mean?
What are you talking about? Bodies. We already went. Like, actually,
muscle
we already got
mass.
in trouble for this, I think.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about, like, well, a trail runner's legs. Like, they've got different, different muscle development to a road runner, and you don't need a lot of that excess muscle for what we do. So I think hills are good to a degree, but I also think you don't want to be doing 2,000, 3,000 meters of climbing a week as a road flat marathoner.
Yeah,
I think it could be detrimental if you do too much, is what I'm saying.
I think you're right too, because I felt too much hills. I did too much hills at the start of this week, and I was fucked for the back half.
Yeah.
So I reckon you're right about that. I still think there's something to take out of the fact that you've run a ton more mileage than me, that you've still got less climbing, because I do a lot of doubles on the flat. Anyway, Where am I at? I did like a town loop the next day, an hour. It felt pretty average again. I knew this was I was getting into territory here where I was starting to think about Sunday, and I knew I had a massive workout, and I'm like, fuck, every day is feeling terrible right now. I need to almost prepare for Sunday. So Saturday night, I did a bunch of moving. Like, when I say moving, I mean like still driving to the old house and picking up all the stuff and bringing it back and unpacking it and reassembling it. And so I was considering running on the treadie that afternoon, but I didn't end up doing it. And it wasn't going to be the afternoon. It ended up being after dinner, but I decided against it because I thought I would have only been doing it for a mileage purpose. And at the moment I'm running more mileage than I have in a long time. So that was like a sensible, I took the conservative option there. So yeah, the progression run Sunday morning, this was decided on the night before I wrote this workout down as to what I was going to do. So we have a big loop out here. It's about 11.5K, and the climbing's 85 meters per lap. So I ran 38K and got 185 meters. So this is not as hilly as Sydney Marathon, even though it feels like there's some good hills in it. It's just not really continually rolling. It's like you go up a hill, you go down a hill, you go up a big hill, and there's just like, you're either up or down, basically. There's just no flat areas. I did 4K easy, like a warm-up. Then I did 16K with Sim just before Ali took over. So that was at about 3:57s, I think we ran, or 3:53s, my bad. Then I went straight into 10K steady at 3:27. And then I went straight into 3K at what I called tempo. So this was like whatever name you want to give to it. This was like what I would consider marathon effort to be like at about the 30K mark of a marathon. So you're starting to get fatigued, and you're working for sure, but you still got a little bit of room. You got a bit of room in the back pocket if you need to go a bit faster. And then I took a kilometre jog. So that was at 3:13s. And then I took a kilometre jog at, it ended up 3:57. And then I ran 3:15s for the last 3K effort that I did. And then I ran a K cool down. So all, it was 3:46 pace. 5K, that was jogging, warm up, cool down. And I took on, I felt terrible on this run. So in the steady section with Sim, I had a stitch really bad where I couldn't quite talk. I had to really breathe it out. And then when I took off on the 10K, I just felt like I had no further gears. The first 5K of that 10K, I had no extra gear. I couldn't have gone any faster than that, but it didn't feel like a difficult pace to run, but I couldn't run faster. It's a weird feeling, and I know that doesn't make sense, but it was my leg turnover that was stopping me from going faster, but my lungs and my heart were working quite easily to maintain it. So I ran the first 5K, and in my head I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't the day to do a progression run. Maybe I should just stick at this, and 40K at this would be a good run. But then it started to come good, and it's probably a good little lesson for me is that you don't have to feel great to be able to get the job done. I think a lot of people, they adjust their workouts on the fly when they're not feeling great, and it doesn't really teach them how to be resilient within a big training session, and then they've got no chance of pulling it off in a race. So I hit a downhill section on that end of the second, or the last 4K, I think it was, of the 10K, and I started to roll a little bit faster. And then I got in a good rhythm. And then when I ran that first 3K, I'm like, holy shit, this is going fast, and I feel fine. And then I ended up going, that was a net uphill, and then I jogged a bit, and I got my heart rate down, and then I did another 3K, and I'm like, this is actually fine. Like, I'm not pushing too hard. And I finished the run, and I'm like, fuck, my calves felt good today. My body actually felt fine. This was a good result. So I finished this run pretty happy. 38K, I got pretty sore afterwards, like really sore. That afternoon I was fucked, actually. I was like really tired. And I was like sore in the hammies, in the lower back. I really needed to rest. And so I took it pretty easy today. But I was 132K for the week. 1 month out, I know I have 2 decent weeks of training left. And then the taper period, I haven't fully worked out what I'm going to do there, but I think I'm going to keep the training load relatively high. I don't think I need a heavy taper or a strong taper or anything like that, because I'm not running a ton of mileage, and I'm just doing like one big workout a week. So if I remove that, I should feel pretty good.
Are you going to do a bigger one than what you've done, like what you did on Sunday?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
He's fit, Ellie.
That would be the biggest one.
He's fit, Ellie. 3:13s. End of the workout. Feels like marathon pace. I'm getting excited. Here's people writing him off in my DMs, but I'm making a list of people writing him off, and I'm going to be ringing him up, I reckon, after this Sydney Marathon.
Yeah, I actually, from what I've witnessed over the last couple of months, there's been a big jump in fitness.
Big shift.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I know what you're doing, Brady.
I'm not doing anything.
Because I can recognize what you're doing. So, like, it's not making me mad. I'm just, like, you got to know that I know what you're doing.
What am I doing?
You're doing this bullshit thing where you, like, talk me up and you start, like, it's like
I'm
a
your
joke
biggest fan
thing.
base. You know,
and we're going to run Sydney, and Sydney's slow as fuck. This course, no good at Sydney. Like, they've got their 15,000 people. They'll all realise. They'll run out there and they'll be like, this is pretty hilly. 380 metres of climbing up here. Like, that's a decent amount of climbing. That's just a little bit less than Great Ocean Road. A lot of U-turns.
Not to mention the out and backs, yeah.
Yeah, the out and backs. And so it's not going to be a place where I run fast, and I'm fully aware of that. So I'm not preparing to go and run under 220.
You're trying to get yourself as fit as possible. Does it equal on race day?
Race day, it equals whatever it comes out as, because my biggest threat here is fucking the race up by running too hard in this up the hills and butchering the execution. because at the moment my heart feels pretty good. My lungs feel pretty good. I don't think my legs are tough enough for a hard effort over hills. Like, I reckon if I had this type of aerobic fitness 3 years ago, my legs would have been able to run quite fast over this course, but I don't have that anymore. I'm still a bit soft in the leg.
Your legs will be catching up a bit though. Like, they're going to be a lot stronger than they were in Feb.
Yeah.
Like, you've done decent mileage, you've done hills, you've done way more of the long stuff than you had been doing sort of in the 12 months prior to that. Like, I think your legs will be getting there. They just, yeah.
They're not there though. They're 6 months off being there. They're about.
Yeah, you're still pulling up. The fact that you're still pulling up sore from any big Sunday. Yeah.
This is going to be a great stepping stone for early next year. That's what I'm really excited about. I'm excited that I've been able to get back to this fitness level, but I'm not excited about the result at Sydney. That doesn't excite me at the moment. And so I'm not building anything up around this race because I don't see any miracles happening here. But I can see come next year, early next year, that maybe something can happen. I just need 6 more months of this.
Will you dial back some of the workouts to a pace that you think you can run and have to sit out on a hillier course? Like maybe around that 320, 322 kind of pace? Or you'll keep trying to go as quicker as possible?
It's not going to be 320 pace at Sydney. It just won't be. It'll be slower than that. So I think I've already done that. I think I'm doing a bit of steady pace stuff like...
Oh, so that 10K before you kick down with the 2x3Ks.
I reckon that'll be more like the pace at Sydney. I'm going to be pretty conservative there. I need to get back on the board. I need to feel what a good second half feels like. That feeling of a good, strong second half takes me through to February next year and gives me like confidence. The worst thing I could do is go out hard, blow out this Sydney and have a terrible experience and then fucking hate the idea of the marathon until February. I made all these mistakes like 10 years ago when I was running marathons and doing them poorly. I need to go back to what worked. And a lot of these workouts I'm doing now, like they're almost cut and paste from what I was doing when I was running well.
Good. It's going to come around pretty quick.
This week's episode of the Inside Running podcast is proudly sponsored by AthsVic. Stability has never felt better than with the GEL-KAYANO 30. Reimagine stability. New 4D guidance system provides adaptive and on-demand stability, supporting runners in every step of their run. Softer landings. New PureGEL technology for enhanced shock absorption, softer landings and smoother transitions. More cushioning. New lightweight FF Blast plus eco cushioning and an increased 4mm in stack height means an even more comfortable ride. A lighter footprint for a brighter tomorrow. The GEL-KAYANO 30's carbon footprint is 14% lower than the industry average, a study conducted by MIT. Visit AthsVic.com or your specialty running store to grab your pair today.
Yeah.
I'll whistle through this week because I've been going for a while. Monday, 60 minutes easy, 4:46s. Then I got out for half an hour in the afternoon at 4:35s. I only did one workout this week because I was racing on the Saturday, so I made it a bit of a bigger workout. I did 5 minutes at threshold, so I was working at about 3:15 pace, 90 seconds jog, then 3 minutes at a bit quicker, around about 3:10 pace, 60 seconds jog, then 1 minute hard where I was just trying to get them under 3 minute K pace, 60 seconds jog, did that 4 times. So come out at, I think, about 50 minutes in the end. Quite a long one, but I knew because I had until Saturday to recover, wanted to kind of make this one a bit more bigger. And then, complement it with the race on the Saturday. It was good though, quite enjoyed it. Nothing like groundbreaking with the paces I was hitting. Just one of those ones that kind of drags on a bit because you're out there for quite a bit of time. All up, I think it was like 14K or something. Maybe something like that. Don't have that in my diary in front of me.
It was 14.16.
Which is a pretty long workout. But yeah, it was good. 30 minutes in the afternoon at 4:37s. Wednesday, an easy hour before work at 4:28s. Nice and chilled out, watching the sunrise. Beautiful time of the year to be running at the moment in the mornings. And then Thursday, I did a 90-minute medium long run at 4:24s. This was after the Matildas game on the Friday night. I was a bit bummed out. Did you guys get around like the Matildas hype?
Yeah.
I did actually on this one.
Yeah. I was seat 1A on the bandwagon. Didn't know anything about it like 2 weeks ago, but like when they started winning, after that France game with the penalty shootout, I become like stalking them on Instagram, watching documentaries on Disney Plus. Like, yeah, I just like become an expert on like women's soccer strategy and stuff. So
Women's
I think
soccer
everyone
strategy.
in Australia got on the bandwagon, didn't they?
Oh,
It was
so good.
actually crazy how every single person was talking about it. Like it was really cool.
Oh, so good. Amazing how
What
like,
is
sport can bring it.
tell me some strategy though,
Well,
from your research.
Well, I like that Courtney Vine, who they sub her on, and she's got like heaps of speed. And I'm like, they've got to get on earlier, inject this speed into the game. I was really disappointed that Tony wasn't subbing her on earlier in the games. And then like Ali Carpenter, like that back one, who's like one of the best players in the team. But I was watching like some stuff about her, how she kind of plays off her forwards a bit, like plays a bit loose in defence to be able to attack going forward, but then kind of exposes you. You know, in AFL when the backmen play a bit loose, then they kind of expose them on the turnaround. So yeah, I was getting all into that kind of stuff. Not sure if any of that makes any sense.
You reckon she was it? She was the reason?
No, I don't think so. I think both the teams were
Sounds
just...
like that's what you're saying.
No, I think Sweden and England were just another step above kind of thing. I think we were doing pretty well just to get up to them. They were just a bit smoother, classier with the ball.
England, like they just looked better, didn't they, from the start?
And they just controlled it. They just had all possession, made us run around and chase it.
Looked a lot easier for them to get it in near their goals.
Yeah, and every time it went in, they had 2 or 3 people, whereas we were just a bit reliant on Sam Kerr, I thought.
Yeah,
anyway.
God, her goal was good though.
Oh, how good was that? I was just falling asleep on the
amazing.
couch, actually, and Carly started, like, yelling, like, go, go, and it woke me up, and I'm like, shit, absolute bullet. That was unreal. But anyway.
It's a bit sad that it's over.
I know, that's how I felt on Thursday morning. I was just like, oh, like, you know when you're looking forward to, like, following this journey and then it just ends? Similar vibes to after a marathon's finished. But anyway, got over that pretty quick. Friday, did some strides in a 55-minute run. Saturday, went to the same spot Ali did. I did 20 minutes before the 2.5-hour drive there. Just stretched the legs. Picked up crammers on the way through Bendigo. And then, I did the first leg. I volunteered to do it after, because I did it last year. At least I knew what was to come. So, I hated pretty much every step of it.
This is the longest one.
Yeah, 8.4k. Liam Cashin fanged it from the start, dropped us. And then I sat in a nice group with Michael Kernahan, good friend of the show, and Abdi from Collingwood. Remember the guy that stayed after the World Cross Country Champs from Somalia? So we had a nice pack of the 3 of us until the turnaround where the really steep climb was, where we kind of had to do this U-turn down like a mountain. And then Michael Kernahan just put in a massive surge. And then, dropped Abdi and I. And then we kind of just ran, the 3 of us, probably 5 or 10 seconds between each other, trying to chase him down for the last 4K. Couldn't quite get to him. He got me by 2 seconds in the end. But Cashin was like a minute ahead, Westerns. So had some work to do for the Bendigo Bats, but we pulled him in, which was good. But yeah, hated it. Saw Hammy a bit afterwards as well. Probably more from the drive home afterwards. But good to get back in there with the team. 160 metres of elevation as well, Moose, over 8k. That's a big amount of elevation.
160 over 8.
Only says 100 on my Strava, but everyone else's says 160. So I'm going with
that's
that.
the same as what the other St. Anne's was.
Was it?
Yeah,
160.
I remember it was 20 metres a K as well.
Yeah.
But this one felt worse.
Yeah,
I thought.
always. So where we, when we come down that big hill, like probably with a K to go, that used to be the old course.
Yeah, right.
When we were driving in on the right there.
Nice.
Yeah, that was beautiful to finish off on that. A bit hilly coming up, but yeah, still pretty good. Drove home, and then Sunday, 2.5 hours, 4:15s, 35.2k. Nath Stoke was still in town, and he jumped in for the last 90 minutes, and then had a bit of company. Did an hour beforehand. Good week, 151. Slowly getting fitter.
That's a good week.
Yeah.
So why 2.5 hours on Sunday?
Because Christian's got this theory, but you only get benefit for everything you do over 2 hours. So this was 30 minutes worth of fitness benefit here. But yeah, the magic really happens post 2 hours. So I'm trying to make 2.5 hours my new 2 hour hour kind of like standard long run.
Yeah,
But,
right.
but the real reason is I'm not doubling during the week much. Like I did 2 doubles this week, but I'm trying to do a bit more on Sunday and then not double when life's busier and hectic and stuff during the week.
Yeah. If you can still get 150 plus K in with only 2 doubles, that's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, yep. Probably, I guess, that workout being 14K and a longer kind of, 5K warm-up, you kind of get to 25, 30K there pretty easy on a Tuesday as well.
Yeah. How do you find backing up on a Tuesday? Or have you done that after a 2:30 long
Yeah,
run
I
yet?
did it last week, so this was the first week I did it.
Did you notice a difference?
Not too bad. I think I maybe just need to put some strides in on Monday. Like I just felt a bit sluggish more than anything. But yeah, I think I wanted to test the shoes that we were reviewing last week as well. So usually I wouldn't double on a Monday, but I wanted to double and do another run in those shoes Monday before the show. So it turned into a pretty 2.5 hours Sunday, double Monday, long fart Tuesday, and then double Tuesday. I was pretty tired by Wednesday.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all right though. We'll just see what happens. Anyway, Moose.
So you're not going to do a sneaky Valencia too?
No, I can't get there. I've got a bib. I've got to actually try to defer that now we talk about it. But I'm on school camp the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with the race band that Sunday. And I'm kind of locked in because having staff to do it and male teachers and stuff like that. So
you can't be sick that week?
Nah, probably not. Sick and in a different country. It was more that was one thing. Didn't really want to leave the family for a week and a half again was another thing. Then kind of a few little things put together. And it just kind of, when the school camp thing was there, I'm this is an extra reason that I was looking forward not to go. But yeah, you'll love it. It's such a great race. Hey?
Osaka with me, that is it.
Nah,
you might as well lock that in.
You just ended up talking about how good you're going to be in Feb next year after your launch of Sydney.
What does that have to do with
Japan
anything?
is that's ideal though, isn't it? Especially if you want to go solo, you can go a couple of days before the race.
Yeah.
It's so much easier logistically than going to Europe.
Yeah.
And train
on,
through
mate.
summer.
Our summers are pretty hot though. I don't know how
Yeah,
much.
you're a bit too hot,
You wouldn't
actually.
be able to double.
Surf Coast summer, you can easily train through
Yeah.
Malema because it's still really hot at 7 o'clock at night, isn't it? There.
Yeah, you'd ride off all doubles, and then even some of the nights it might only drop to 24, 25, so you can get up at 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, but it's still going to be 24 degrees when you start. But anyway,
Yeah.
You
you
can
just
come
adjust.
down the surf coast for a bit. Bring the family.
Yeah, I'm on 6-week school holidays.
Training
I could do
camp.
that. Training camp down there. Doesn't everyone in the world go down there pretty much over that time? Pretty busy. I'm just looking at your photos here on
I like
Strava
it.
of this gym setup you got, Moose. I need to check out this new
I
house. Tell you what,
Finally finished it today.
looks pretty good. Talk about that next
Can't
week.
wait. Yeah, push a few reps in there.
Crocs will be getting into you about that, I reckon. Let's thank some
Lift a
Patreon
few
supporters.
10-kilo weights.
Ali, have you got this document open? You're in green.
Yes.
Okay, you can go
I do.
first, Moose. You're in
Oh yeah,
you're
I
usually
got
blue, aren't you? Yeah.
blues for me. So blue is Max Saville Bentley. So he's from Mitcham, runs for Yarra Rangers. We've talked about him on the show because
Talked about him a couple of weeks ago, yeah.
he was just in front of me at Bandura, I reckon.
Yep.
Maybe I beat him at Bandura.
Just in front of me at Albert Park too.
Oh, maybe
Taking
I beat
both
him.
of us this year.
He might have beaten me actually. Maybe I'm. Yeah. Okay. He's run 4:01 for 1500, 8:37 for 3K. That was at the 2023 Box Hill Classic, so recent. 14:50 for 5K at the 2022 Collingwood Classic. 30:20 at this year's Lonnie 10, and 67:41 at last year's Burnley Half. We reckon he's a student of a bachelor of It's a Bachelor of Science and a Masters of Teaching at Deakin Uni. You can do both at once.
All red.
Nah,
good
he
bloke
must
too.
have already done the Bachelor of Science, wouldn't he? And then he's doing the Masters after.
Don't you? Yeah, you do that in the 4th year, don't you, to become a teacher? So he's done the science degree and then he's tacked on the extra year to become a teacher of science.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's
I reckon that's what's happened.
I'll ask Ellie this. Do you reckon becoming a teacher is a little bit like giving up on your dreams? He wanted to be a scientist And then he's got 3 years in and he's like, oh, fuck it, I'll just be a teacher.
Just get the dip out on the end
He
there.
was like, I just want mass holidays and 9 till 3 work hours. I reckon that's what he's thought.
9 till 3. Yeah, that's a contact
We've all
hours.
That's
considered
true.
it.
I want to be silver spoon fed by the government, and I'm going to take these holidays, and I'm going to start work at 9, but do not have me at school past 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's not
And
bad.
at the end of every term, I'll whinge a bit about reports to everyone, so they
Oh,
know
yeah.
I do some work
Report.
outside of school.
And then occasionally I have to stay back for a parent-teacher interview, like twice a year.
I just told you I'm going on school camp. I'll be working 24 hours a day there. 3 days.
You get to go on camp.
Do you get
to
time
go
in
away
lieu
on a little
from that?
holiday.
Yeah, you're meant to get time on lieu. It's just come in this year, but every other year you never used to. But I don't think we got any teachers to cover us for time in lieu, so we just get an extra pay.
The teachers cracked it because they had to do a few extra
the
hours.
union. Jeez, I wish Croaks was here this week. Got no leg to stand on when it's 2
Oh,
on 1.
no. This is... we talk about this all the time.
Let's put it this way, Moose. It's that hard of a job that you would not survive one day doing it.
I wouldn't
You know what-
survive. I don't...
Yeah, think about, you know what it's like having one kid in the room with you. Imagine 20.
26 10-year-olds are in my
26.
class. 26.
That's the path that you chose.
Yeah, I know, and I love it. I love contributing to the next generation of society coming through and shaping their little minds to be able to give them the skills to survive in the world, teach them numeracy and English.
Teaching about
What's the
penguins
worst
geography
and
we're
what type
doing
of
at the moment.
What type of fish a penguin is.
Yeah, get that in there. That'll come into science unit. No, they go to a specialist teacher for science. I don't teach science.
What's the worst age?
Oh, it depends who you are. Horses for courses kind of thing, but I think the further you go down, the harder it gets. But some teachers love teaching like preps and grade 1s and stuff, but I tend not to go under grade 4, which is like 10-year-olds. I think grade 5 or 6 are best, like 11 and 12-year-olds. They know a bit about the world. You can have a conversation with them, teach them some interesting stuff, but they're don't quite have that attitude yet as high school.
And you're still a little bit bigger than them.
8, 9, wouldn't it?
Yeah, not anymore though, Moosh. You should see how tall. All our grade 6s, especially the girls, would be taller than me. Not that it takes much to do that, but yeah. Whereas back 4 or 5 years ago, I got some conspiracy going. I don't know if it's something in our diet or the water, maybe the air we're breathing, but yeah, 5 years ago, you'd have 1 or 2 students taller than you. Now there's like 60% of them taller than me. Could be something in it.
What, in what year?
In grade 6.
Grade 6, they're taller than
Yeah,
you?
they stand up assembly and I'm just like, yeah, majority of these kids are taller than me now.
Ooh.
Something's going on in the world. Anyway, I'm going to thank Darcy Lunn, originally from South Australia but living in Shanghai. He is the Group Head of Sustainability and Global Citizenship with Education in Motion. Here we go, fellow educator. Education in Motion is a global education company that aspires to be a leader in pioneering education for a sustainable future. All his running is estimated best on Strava and from a bike ride which has been flagged. But he has ran an 18-18 park run and does some triathlons. So a massive thanks, Darcy, for your support of the Inside Running podcast. Ellie, who you got?
I've got Nadine Bainbridge. So she's a regular at the XCR races. She runs for Western Athletics from Point Cook in Victoria. According to World Athletics, her PBs are 10:27 for 3K, 17:17 for 5K, 37:23 for 10, which was from 2018, 80:55 for the half at Burnley in 2016, and 2:50 at the 2017 Sydney Marathon. That's it. Bloody impressive. Jules, Sydney Marathon, not that slow.
Third in Australia there.
Yeah, bronze in the Australian Marathon Champs that year. So maybe studying a Bachelor of Nursing at Deakin. So yeah, she's a really good runner, Nadine. And yeah, I think maybe she had a few injuries for a while there after that sort of 2017-18 period, but she's back racing lots now. So yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for your support.
Bree, my wife, she's always like, oh, I think I beat Nadine today. Like, that's her benchmark.
Yardstick.
She's going well if she's beating
they've
Nadine.
got pretty similar PBs actually.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So, well, she's much faster.
Well, 3K, 5K, 10K, yeah.
Yeah, but
Bree can. That's where Bree could run that in a marathon, though. I reckon.
Well, we'll see. That's a pretty big call.
Yeah.
Bit of confidence boost.
Well, you can't just say that about a marathon. I mean, Nadine's gone out there and done it.
On a hilly course too. It's probably
she's not going to
2:45
appreciate
in
someone
Berlin.
saying she could probably do that.
But Bree's been. I feel like Bree's been in that sort of shape before. She just hasn't got to the start line.
And Nadine's she's been around forever on that Western Ass team. See her at all the fun runs too.
Thanks for all Patreon supporters. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/Inside Rain Podcast. Bonus content galore over there. The monthly with Toby and Christian last week. Also the Road to Berlin boys going weekly. There, maybe 5 weeks out, getting into the meat of it there. It's been great listening. Paddy hosted it last week, did a pretty good job too, I thought, Moose. Had me worried, concerned early. His intro was a bit too professional, trying to be a bit too funny, I thought, but then steadied the ship well.
Yeah, I thought it was. It's pretty good, those guys on there. Everyone says that it's the best one that they've listened to. Everyone, especially better than that.
Jeez, Ellie's been on about 3 of them, hasn't she?
Well, the Road to Nowhere was by far the worst. And this one here, the amount of good feedback coming in for it is it's crazy. And I actually think the same thing. I'm throwing good feedback too at it. I reckon it's great.
Well, Jimmy Friend is the best guy in the world.
He's so good on that show.
It was always going to be awesome.
Do you know what, though? He's like a super... How that guy recovers from calf strains in one day, that's just unbelievable.
I thought the curse got him.
He's a super healer.
One day, the guy's come back from a terrible calf strain that ruled him out of doing a massive workout, and next day he's fine. Can you believe that, Brady?
Oh, do you think it's a bit soft-moosed?
Oh, I'm just saying it's a medical miracle.
Jules thinks that I've turned him soft. He tells me this every week.
But agree with me as a physio that's a medical miracle from a calf strain to running fine the next day, not feeling it.
It's a quick recovery. But he doesn't want to ping his calf and not make it to the start line. So he's probably being more cautious than usual with this one. He's also had a couple in the past. Yeah. It's all good. Missing one long run doesn't matter.
And as
good
he said,
move from Jim.
He did you'll hear about this week, but he did a really good workout on Sunday.
He's up in Sydney, isn't he? It's good.
His calves come back stronger.
Let's whip through these results. I'm starting with the Ekiden Relays, the women's first, because this is getting close to women's stuff. Glenhuntly won 2 hours 15. They ran 33.7k for their Ekiden Relay, 2 hours 15. It wasn't that close on the day, but the ladder's pretty close. St. Stephen's second, 2:18, and South Melbourne third, 2:24. But Glenhuntly and St. Stephen's, there's only 3 points separating them with 2 races to go on the ladder, 77 points to 74. South Melbourne further back in 60. So
10 relays could be fun.
Yeah, St. Stephen's have got more of the speedsters too, don't they? Kind of some younger runners.
Yeah, yep.
So, but if Glenhuntly get them at the 10, they'll get the extra point bonus, and then they might be too hard, then they can probably finish 3rd or 4th and still win it. So that could be interesting. You follow this, Ellie, the women's stuff?
A little bit, yeah, because I'm sort of trying to suss our competition for the Pussycats next year.
Yeah, where you'd fit.
So I've been keeping my eye on it, yeah.
How would you be like if you threw, let's say at Bundoora, if you took the first 4 of Geelong?
5, I think it is, isn't it?
Pussycats is 4. Oh, yeah, if you took the first 5 of Geelong, where would you have finished at Bundoora?
So I have actually done this before. I think we would have been 4th at Bundoora.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, so I think we'll be competitive in Premier. I don't think we'll be winning, but we're going to be kind of middle of the field.
Big signing next year too.
Are you going to keep taking this serious, Ellie, or is this just this season because you're doing Valencia later in the year and stuff? Do you think you'll do a lot of it going forward?
Next year, it depends what's happening next year.
Yeah, it could be the Olympics.
I plan on running as many of them as I can, but if it depends on what's happening, whether it looks like I might be a chance for... Well, by then we'll know, actually, if I'm going to the Olympics or not. So if I don't make the Olympic squad, XCR I will be taking very seriously.
I love that.
I'll channel all my energy into it.
Men's race, Moose, big upset. Bendigo Bats won their first relay of the year in 2:15.45. Western A's second, 2:16.42.
Aren't you on the top of the ladder?
Glenhuntly third, 2:16.57. Yeah, Bats 79 on top of the ladder. Western A's 65. Glenhuntly 63. Box Hill 60.
Are you guys unbeatable?
No, never say that. We've very much got a lid on it, but we need a strong performance at the half marathon because the tan relays, we will get smashed, I think, with Westerns, Glenhuntly and Box Hill.
Yeah, you guys are more of a team of marathoners, aren't you?
Yep. So,
what do you mean? Their team's young as hell. They've got kids running. I don't think they're a marathon team.
There was no kids running. There was all open people this week because all the kids were unavailable because of National Cross, and Andy was tapering for National Cross as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you've got kids that run for you.
Yeah.
You're not a team of marathoners. I wouldn't say that. You've got what? Who you got? It's a marathon.
We got range. I know what Ellie means.
Andy?
We got guys who can run half marathons.
Andy's the fucking he's going to win National Cross.
Yeah, but do you reckon the 10 wouldn't be his forte?
He'd be fine at the 10.
He'd be fine.
At the 10.
But, yeah.
He'd be in the top 3 fastest all day at the 10. Don't worry about that.
You need 6 though, Moose. I don't know if like guys like me and Nate Stote and that, we haven't got that kind of speed of these sub-14 boys.
This annoys me when you do this.
Could be a real like showdown at the 10. We just got to hang on, try to get as many points as possible and hang on. Anyway, let's talk about some very high class running. The World Championships started, I think, Saturday night our time. I think I've got that right. There's been some drama. The 15s have been on. Both the 10Ks have been on. If you're listening to this on the public feed, there's probably more stuff's happened since we've recorded. But we'll go with the 1500s first, Moose. Do you want to take us through those? Start with the men's.
The men's. Look, I didn't actually watch these because these were on in the middle of the night. I woke up.
Have you been watching them on the recap though on the SBS?
I don't have time, mate. I wish I had time for that. I'm serious. I wish I had time for that. But so the top 6 go through. It's a bit of a different approach to qualification this year. There was no like fastest qualifiers or whatever.
This is good. This is the best way it should be. Top 6, 3 heats.
I think you're right. I do think you're right here.
I feel like
it's made it seem a bit more stressful for everyone though.
Well, yeah, I think so. I think there's more anxiety on the start line. It's good.
Yeah. I always thought that where you get what heat you got was like luck. Like it didn't, like if you got that last heat and knew what time you had to run, it was just like easier than the first.
Yeah,
heat.
definitely.
This just
that
makes
was an advantage.
it, more even.
Yeah, more even.
If you're not in the top 6, you're not good enough to go through.
It does mean that they have to seed the races really well. So in order to not have like big dogs miss out through a really stacked heat.
Well, we've seen that. Keep talking though.
Yeah, all right. So Stewie finished 7th. He didn't get through. I think that's probably the big disappointment for the start of the championships. So 3:36.01 he ran, so not fast for Stewie either. I didn't watch, but I read a bit of a comment on it, and they said that he slowed with a lap to go, and he couldn't find the pace to finish the race off.
I watched it. He tried to make it fast earlier in the race, but then he probably got swamped with 500 to go, Ellie.
Yeah, I reckon they all went past him.
Yeah, and then just put time into him, and then he was in no man's land.
He did his classic Stewie thing, like he was slow off the mark and then got to the front, and then he just doesn't have that, like where, when he was at his peak and he was able to hang on at the end, that's what he's just missing, isn't it?
But he should be able to run gun to tape quicker than 3:36.
Yeah, true.
Which that's the way he has to qualify. Like and I think that's what he tried to do, and he just fell off it earlier than what we come to expect with him.
Yeah, so do you reckon that's just lack of fitness with the injuries and stuff he's had this year? Or
I think about what he did when he paced Jakob. Like he got him to 1200 on 3:27 pace, and then the interview after that was like he's in shape, thinks he can get the Australian record, all focuses on world champs. So I don't know if something's happened in between. But he had a pace to do that pace job as well though. But Yeah, I think when he gets to championship racing, not having that big turn of speed, he makes him so vulnerable in these championships, and we saw it at the World Champs. Was it World Champs where he didn't qualify as well last year in Oregon? And then he was sick, he missed the comp games. But that was from maybe the semi-final, wasn't it? He'd been sick leading in as well. Yeah. So we've seen it before, so he has to make it fast and kind of go gun to tape to get through. And he just ends up being the pacemaker for all these other guys that run over the top of him in the last lap, which is sad because we want to see him I think they'd sit down and say this is this is the biggest race of the year, and for him not to make it out of the heats is pretty disappointing for everyone involved.
Yeah, hopefully he can, get a really good, solid 12 months under his belt now and come back for Paris, because everybody wants to see Stewie at his best, don't they? Yeah,
remember the Olympics when he did gun to tape with both those to get into the final as well?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But then Adam Spencer, he was third. He ran 3:34.17 to make it through. And Matt Ramsden got caught in some traffic and there was a stack. Two other guys behind him hit the ground pretty hard and he kind of got caught up on it and tripped, but then got back up and finished the race. They all finished the race, but the other two were on the ground for a lot longer than Matt Ramsden. So he finished 13th in his heat in 3:46, but then he got reinstated to go into the semi-final. And Moose, you were saying that
Adam...
Sorry.
Oh, the other two blokes get put in as well, reinstated?
Yep.
So it was all of them went through,
Yeah, because it made the semi-finals a bit bigger, which were on the next day.
Can I just say, Adam Spencer's heat was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He ran a really smart, considering coming off, qualifying only a couple of weeks ago, massive PB, it would have been... I feel like a big emotional thing for him to get there, but then he really executed that heat perfectly for his first kind of major championship.
Yeah, for sure. And it looked like maybe it had taken its toll in the semi-final.
Yeah.
Because he looked pretty tired and, when the boys got moving, he was out the back a bit there. But I think this was a massive pass mark just for him to get through the heats. So him and... Matt Ramsden were in the same... No, they were in semi-final one for Ramsden. He was 13th in 3:36.8, so he didn't progress. And Adam Spencer was in the second one. He ran 3:44.2, was also 13th and didn't progress. Did you watch these, Ellie? Did you see Jakob? This was drama here too. Mo Katir didn't make it through, which was big. And Jakob just got himself boxed in. You go watch it, Moose. It's worth watching. He looked in trouble and then he just, found himself... getting out of trouble maybe with 250 metres to go, went around the whole field, got up to Josh Kerr and then started getting the crowd up and about, waving to the crowd to start clapping and stuff with 100 metres to go, looking around everywhere in the last 20 metres. There was a lot of celebrating for people qualifying for finals across both days. It was odd and it was quite...
That was an interesting one, what Jakob was doing. I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, I found it really arrogant, to be honest. I was just I think he likes playing that villain now.
I reckon he's a villain, not a hero.
I reckon he's turned into the villain. I reckon people want to see him get rolled now with these kind of antics. At least I do. I'm all about the new guy,
commentators were discussing, they were actually having, Jules and I, we've had this discussion before about whether you need to be arrogant to be the best. And the commentators were saying, is this confidence or has this gone into arrogance? And then they were actually saying that same thing. Do you think that that's what you need to be as good as he is? But I like it though. I like the arrogance.
Yeah, I think it's entertaining. But it was almost like he's I'm going to make this as difficult as I can, just to do something a bit different and just show him how easy I can qualify for a really hard situation. And
he didn't look stressed when he was boxed in, did he?
Even the last 50, he's just throwing his head around, smiling, so it's going to be a fascinating final. I can't wait to watch that. And then our other boy, the Norwegian, Nordas, he also made it through to the final. And then I love this, Gert, so Jakob's dad, put a photo on Instagram quoting Britney Spears where it just said, "Oops, I did it again," after his coach Nordas into the World Championships final. So we could see some fireworks amongst the Norwegians on the start line during the race.
Do you know, like, when Christian came on and talked about GERD and the dramas and all that, that is still not in the public.
It's real.
It's still unknown. Like, it's still a bit uncertain what's going on. And the actual, like, Chris O's come on and told us exactly pretty much what's happening. And the story hasn't broken yet.
Did you listen to the monthly where he was talking about Sondre Mullen?
He did, yeah. Yeah, I did.
Same with that stuff. He's like, Sondre's doing no media, but he's like, I'll just tell you guys about it.
Yeah, but this is big.
This is big.
Huge.
Controversial stuff.
How the sons and their relationship with their father is, like, this is the most famous family in running.
And then Gert's fired back. I like it.
Yeah, this is huge, actually. This is drama in our sport. We should like this. This should get a bit of attention.
Well, I feel Jakob's
makes it more
acting that way.
It's going to make the race more interesting, isn't it? Watching them go head to head.
Well, I feel Jakob's changed his attitude to that villain since this breakdown with his father.
Oh, deep.
Daddy issues.
Deep.
And now it's like, I reckon that's who he's talking to.
What do you mean? When he's stirring the crowd up, you mean he's sending a message to Daddy?
He's like, look how good I am now, Dad, without your help. Yep. I think there's something in it.
Henry coaching me now.
Yeah, Joe's thought that him stirring the crowd up was something to do with that too.
Joe and I on the same page there.
Yeah, he's right into it.
Yeah.
Is he?
Inga Brits and drama, yeah.
Joyce is into this now. He's watching.
It's crazy how much he knows about athletics now. I think he's heard that many rants from me that he's just like absorbed them all. And
is he on Let's Run? Is he going through Let's Run?
Yeah, probably.
I hope he posts on Let's Run. That'd be fantastic.
That would be so funny if we found out that one of those Let's Run forum tests.
There are actually a few sneaky Australians that get on Let's Run and post under aliens.
You've worked him out, don't you?
Jules has got him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's always sending screenshots to me, Ellie, with all the spare time he's got.
Yeah, exactly. He's so busy, but he's in 2018 Let's Run forums.
Yeah. Looking up IP addresses. So that's going to be a big final. There's some big names going through there, and it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. Women's 15. You watch this, Ellie. You can start talking about it because I just did all Moose's chat there.
Yeah, the women's 15. So the semi-finals were on sort of in the middle of the night last night. Jess, Lyndon and Abby all made it through to the semi-finals, so they all looked really strong in the heats, actually. And probably just one other person to note from the heats, Sophie O'Sullivan. So I know she runs for Ireland, but we're obviously going to claim her as Australian too. But she ran 4:02, just missed out on making the semis. So she, after this, I was like, that's a massive PB for her. And then I was thinking, I wonder how much she's improved in the last couple of years. So I went on to her World Athletics. 2022, her PB was 4:17. And then she's run 4:02 in her first championship heat the other day. So I thought that was pretty impressive. But, yeah, just missed the semis. And then semi-final 1 was weaker than semi-final 2. Lyndon was in the first one. She ended up finishing 8th in 4:03. So, like, I actually, watching it, I thought she was running a really smart race too. She was kind of positioned well, out of trouble. She was sitting, like, sort of first or second spot, and then she just faded. So the other girls kind of all went round her in the last lap, and I don't know, she obviously just didn't have the legs, which, I mean, she's just come off a 3:57 a couple of weeks ago, so you would have thought 4:03 was doable for her, but I'm not sure what happened there. And then semi-final 2 had Kip Yeagon, Sifan Hassan and Laura Muir. Jess was really strong. So she finished 6th in 3:57.8, which is just slower than her PB. But, I think the girls that won were a couple of seconds ahead. They might have run 3:55. So she kind of it looked like she was sort of cruising in once she realised she was safe in 6th as well. So maybe she's got a bit more time to take off her PB there. And Abby kind of got dropped and then had a really strong kick to, like, she finished in 9th, but she ended up running sub 4, so she ran 3:59.79, which was a PB for her. So, yeah, obviously she's probably disappointed, I'm sure, not to make the final, but still her fastest run ever. And, yeah, in a very, very tricky semi-final. So, Jess into the final, which I think is tomorrow in the middle of the night, our time.
Yeah, there's not much to note, is there?
Nah.
They compress the races, don't they, where, like, these girls have run every day, pretty much.
Yeah, and then a day off for the final.
Yeah, it's pretty tight going for them.
Because
like,
the 805k, people doubling. What about Safan Hassan in the 10k? And then she backed up for the... So in the 10k, you've seen the footage of this, surely, Moose? She was in front and then hit the deck.
Yeah, I saw the photos too.
There's always drama with Sifan, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like, you can guarantee something crazy is going to happen if she's in the race.
What did you make of it, though? So she ended up, I'm not sure what she finished, but she was in the sprint finish. Sergei ended up winning in 31.27. Let's Bet G'day was second, and then Tay was third. So an Ethiopian 1, 2, and 3. Because Safan was sitting on the track with like 20 metres to go after she hit the deck. But did you think she was obstructed?
So the camera, we could only see from side on. So I wonder if what happened was, so she was looking on the inside for Sergei, and then I wonder if she started drifting wide, because then it looked like they started clipping elbows. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So I actually wonder if she was kind of coming into Sergei's line, who was, trying to get around her. But then the fall almost looked like her legs actually just gave way. So I don't know. I don't think it was Sergei's fault.
No,
like, how Safan does that. She turns
she looks around
and
so much, yeah.
Yeah, doing all this stuff. Like, I can't imagine she's running in a dead straight line.
Yeah. And well, it was similar to G'day at World Cross. The minute she, because I thought Sergei was going to actually get her anyway. But it was like the minute she actually went half a step in front of her, she just collapsed.
Yeah.
Like, it was really similar.
That legs just
gave way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. Apparently afterwards she was like, yeah, that's just racing, whatever.
Well, I was surprised how quickly they're just like, oh, yeah, and the winner's Sergei, and that's just shattering for Hassan. I'm like, surely there's an appeal, something's going to happen here. Because she actually deserved to at least get second the way she raced.
Yeah, I wonder if they did protest or...
Not sure. But then she rocked up the next day with, like, tape all over her. Did you see when they were introducing her for the 15? Was it the 15 semi? She's just, like, yawning and just, like, did not want to be there.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Like, that's a pretty hard backup, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
10,000 where you've had a stack. And then, but I mean, she cruised through the semis, so obviously didn't affect her too much.
Yeah.
Do you think she's acting a little bit with all that, like, blasé kind of behaviour?
Yeah, maybe. I just, like, she's quite fascinating, isn't she?
Yeah, she's good for the sport.
Imagine yawning on the start line of a world champ semi.
What about in the 10K? At one stage, she was literally like 20 metres off the back. So she wasn't even, you know how she often just sits at the back and waits? It was like she'd been dropped. There was a 20-metre gap between her and the next girl.
And see, that isn't good for, like, that's not good for your race.
No. But imagine
that's
being
hurting you. Confident.
Imagine thinking like, oh yeah, they've dropped me, but that's all right. I'll just catch back up and then go to the front when I can be bothered. Like, imagine being that person that could do that. It's crazy.
She is trying to triple.
Yeah. But that you have to run like 8 seconds quicker than the girls in front for a 400-meter rep to get to the same spot they are.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just it's completely pointless to let a gap like that open up.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
Nah, I'd love to, get inside her head.
Keep watching her the next couple of days. Cheptegei was amazing in the men's 10K. He won in 27.51. Huge move with 50 metres to go and ran the last lap in 53.4 seconds. Took down, Borrega was the big threat. He looked like he was coming up on his shoulder with 100 metres to go, but he did fade to third in 27.52.7, and Bendigo from Kenya was second in 27.52.6. this was fascinating as well. They do that. They did it at the Olympics, or was it World Champs, where they send the third Ugandan out and he just pretty much fangs it for 13 minutes, drops everyone, and then just walks off the track. So they did that again. And
that was weird.
Like, he had no impact. Like, they weren't really chasing him.
It doesn't seem to affect the rate. Yeah, exactly. It seems like a pointless strategy because last time they didn't go with it and this time they didn't go with it.
Yeah.
You'd be pretty dirty as that Ugandan getting told to do that, especially when no one goes with you.
You're like, well, he only got put in late because Kiplimo pulled out.
Yeah, but same deal. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, why would I do this? If, like, look around. If no one's with you, all right, this doesn't work, boys. Just back to it now.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's going to be fascinating next couple of days. Keep watching that stuff. SBS Viceland if you're here in Australia, and then you can watch the recaps if you've got the app. National Cross Country is the last bit of news this week. Bit of a quick preview. It's in Canberra at Stromlo. I wonder if Croaks be on the ground, Moose. Will he be recovered in time?
Getting him down this
he was
an
working
athletics event, hard work.
Yeah.
I reckon we could, though. Might have to offer him a free beverage or something. Maybe we'll pay for his meat pie at lunch.
Yeah. We'll give an update on him at the end of the show because we have heard from him recently. But who's going to win? He's got some notes here. He reckons Leanne Pompiani's going to beat Jen Gregson and Holly Campbell third. Andy Buchanan to beat Ed Marks to beat Ed Goddard for the men's. I've gone Andy to beat Jack Rayner to beat Ed Marks, Ed Goddard for fourth. I've gone Jen, Leanne and Gemma Maney for the first three with a watch on Zoe Buckman. First time I've seen her in a high-level race for a long time. Who you got, Ellie? Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm just questioning your picks. You've gone Leanne. Oh, no, you've got Jen over Leanne.
Yep, because Leanne
Stromlo is Leanne's stomping ground.
She pulled out a City to Surf, though. That's the only reason why I've put her there. And I'm like,
do we know what happened there yet?
That's it. So that's why I've got a question mark on Leanne. And we've just spoken about how good Jen is as a racer. So,
yeah, that'll be a good race. And Leanne will, because Jen beat Leanne at Sydney Harbour 10, so Leanne will be pumped to try and get her one back, I reckon.
Yep.
And Stromlo, yeah. I'm going to go Leanne.
Okay. Moose, who you got?
I'm going Leanne, but I'm going to oh shit, it's a hard, I reckon the men's is harder to pick.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like Andy, very good cross country runner. And I think that's where he's earned favouritism here. But you've got a bloke like Zach Faccione, he's a bit of a wild card. You've got Ed Goddard.
He was a Bandura.
I know he was I know, but that was at Bandura. We don't know what happened since then. Ed Goddard.
Much easier course this one too.
He beat Andy down at Tassie, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Andy's only got fitter though since that.
Yeah, I'm going Andy.
Ed Goddard's won everything he's raced lately.
I know.
Everything.
But
I'm going Ed to beat Andy.
A lot of it's in Sydney with not a lot of competition. Ed Marks was using that race on the weekend because he wanted a tune-up as well. He wanted a tune-up before National Cross, and he looks pretty good out there.
He'll be out for
had the
Andy
Ray-Bans
after
on.
Bandura.
The Circle Ray-Bans.
Really?
Did you see him getting
in a race?
Yeah.
That is not good, kid.
In the Ekiden, yeah.
Circle Ray-Bans are a no.
Don't you have Circle Ray-Bans?
Do I?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I feel like you do.
Only my work glasses they're actually hexagonal Ray-Bans. They are. But
what about Jack? No one tipping Jack?
So is Jack running?
Yep, it's in the Victorian team. They picked it yesterday.
Ooh.
Did a real weird thing, Victoria, this year where you could nominate, pay the levy to start, and then they pick the team afterwards.
Yeah, I saw they'd announced the teams, but there were 20 people in it.
Yeah.
And then they actually rang me the other day to ask if I was doing National Cross. And I was like, no, I thought you already picked the teams. And they're like, oh, no, we haven't. You hadn't nominated, but we were just ringing to check if you if you meant to nominate and you hadn't or whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting.
I reckon that's how Jack, I don't think he was on that first one, but now he's in the second bit.
How's the prize money though. That's a new thing, isn't it?
$4,000 for first, 2.5 for second,
That's
1,500 for third, pays all the way down to sixth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think
like that.
maybe you should do that.
I didn't know about the prize money when they rang me the other day.
Live stream costs you $6.99 though for a full day of coverage.
You know who we might see
Ooh.
out there now with this money?
Who?
Croaks. Croaks could be pulling the kit on the old ACT kit.
Croaks ain't coming top 6 at this race though.
I reckon he'd like himself. Oh, top 6, I reckon he could do it. His love of money would get him over the line for 5th or 6th, I reckon.
Maybe. Get a hard update from him. It's going to be good. We'll put some links in the show notes for the field. Did you tell me a winner, Ellie? You did, didn't you? Yep.
Yeah. I said Leanne.
Did you say a man? Andy.
Andy.
Our boy from Bendigo. Listener question. Your job's to read this out as well, Ellie.
Yep. So for the marathon, how far out from race day should you start fueling long runs at planned race day levels? And this is from Ian Buckley.
Oh, did you do it on? You did it on Sunday, Moose. 4 weeks out.
Not this Sunday. No, I was.
How many gels did you have?
Do you know why I didn't do it on Sunday?
Too
Brady?
busy to buy gels.
Oh no, Brady, you shouldn't have asked this. Oh God.
I didn't ask. He asked me if I knew.
Oh no.
Why, Moose?
Do you know
We've
why I
already
didn't do
argued
it
about
on-
this for like 10 hours.
Why?
Because, right, so I needed a table because my tables are at work. And I said to Ali early afternoon on Saturday.
No, 9:30
Hey,
p.m.
have you-
9:30 p.m.
Have you got a
Jules?
table I can borrow? Can you please bring it to the long run? Yeah, I've got one. Great. I'll bring it. I'll put a reminder in my phone. And so I thought, okay, that's good. And then this thought in the back of my mind's going off like, oh, I should organise a second table. Like, Ali has a really high chance to flake out on this because she often doesn't really do things she says she's going to do. And so I'm driving a long run. I'm like, great, I know where I'm going to put the table, rah, rah, rah. Oh, I forgot the table. Text message. So I'm trying to pick bottles up off the ground, off the side of the road in the bush, running 3:15 pace. It's just not possible to do. Not off the ground. Like when you're as stiff and old and tight as I am. So I had other bottles that I would have loved to take, Brady, but I couldn't because they were on the ground because someone didn't bring a table that they promised to me.
Couldn't you just move? Couldn't you just have a car in different spots and
Nah.
just go off the bonnets?
Couldn't do it.
Not on this road. But,
Okay.
like, how many bottles did you need to pick up at 3:15 pace? One, if that.
2.
No, one, because you were running back the other way.
There was 2 bottles I needed that I couldn't get to.
No, there weren't two you
Let's
needed
just
at that
answer
pace.
Ian's question, I reckon, guys.
Anyway,
Can't
it
Anyway,
was-
I copped this Brady all day Sunday. Like, he was fuming, and I knew when I forgot it too that he was going to be fuming, but it was a ridiculous carry on.
Just
Anyway,
needs to take some ownership over his own organisation, I reckon.
yeah,
Ali.
bring your own
Fucking
fucking
hell.
table.
How hard is it?
Don't start me again. Let's go into the question. Ian's asked a great question, Ali. Why don't you answer it first?
Okay, so, well, planned race day levels. So for me, I take a gel about every 5Ks. I would say I take gels every long run, but every 5K I probably only do a couple of times during the block, which I actually don't think is the right thing to do. I think you should practice it more. How far out from race day should you start fueling? If you are confident in your nutrition plan, you've never had issues, you're taking the same nutrition you've tried before, I think as long as you're still taking gels on long runs, doing a proper full rehearsal day where you do everything as you would on race day, I think you don't need to do till maybe 5 or 6 weeks out. If it's new, I think you need to be practicing that stuff from the very start of your marathon block. And I think ideally, and I've spoken with sports dietitians about this, I think they would recommend that you're actually doing your race fueling for all of those long run workouts in your training block.
That would make sense, wouldn't it? Because it also helps with not only get your guts ready, but helps with the recovery for afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. I just find if I
It's hard
take
to be that
7
organised,
gels,
isn't it?
yeah, it's one, like it's a lot of gels to take on a run. But if I took 7 gels every Sunday, I'd feel so sick every Sunday afternoon. Like I don't know about you guys, but if I take the amount that I take in a race, it really messes with my guts for the rest of the day. But yeah, I think that's probably lack of gut training.
Look, it's probably better to start earlier than later for Ian's question here.
Yeah, I think it's person dependent. Like if you're pretty experienced in marathoning and you know that what you can take on race day is safe in terms of your like gut, like you said, like, and you've found like your threshold of how much you can take before it creates issues, then I don't think you need to do it every single week, and I don't think you need to do it before 6 weeks out. But if you're new, like Ali said, I think you need to basically find the amount that you're comfortable with in your gut. It's almost like a trial and error experiment in the lead up, where you want to work out the maximum you could take before you start to feel the effects of it, because that's going to be your level that you want to avoid getting to. So the more, almost like the more the better is the way to go, but you'll never know the limit unless you practice it and you find the limit.
And also sometimes you can find the limit, but then you can keep practicing that and you can actually tolerate it better too.
Yes.
So that's probably the mistake some people make, is they take, for the first time ever, they take 2 gels or 3 gels on a run, and then they're like, oh, that made me feel a bit sick. So then they just don't do that anymore. But like, you know, underfueling is such a way to stuff your marathon that in my mind it's worth, really trying to push your limits with how much you can tolerate. And that's where, I guess, the earlier you start in the block, the more time you have to do that. But you're not obviously going to go from 0 gels to 6 in your first long run.
Well, the gut can be trained, can't it? So it's like conditioning a muscle. Is you're conditioning the gut to handle higher levels of carbohydrate in there, and so that's pretty much what you're doing. You're just training it through long runs.
Yeah, I think people like maybe similar shift that you've been kind of talking about the last few weeks, Moose, that I would only pull this stuff out when you start doing the super long stuff or the marathon specific stuff on your Sundays. But now it's like every long run, you're just having the gels there. So you're kind of like doing the work before you need to do the work, like getting the gut ready before you need to get it ready at another level.
Yeah.
Were you the same? Were you always like, hey, didn't bother with gels until it was like super long, or you started doing fast stuff?
I never touched gels for easy days out in the bush. I only started
2 hours
doing
time
that.
on feet, you wouldn't take a gel.
Yeah, but then I started learning a little.
Yeah.
Then I started not learning, listening.
Yep.
I'm like, who are the experts here? They're the sports dietitians. Like, listen to them. Forget the old school way of thinking in running. Listen to the scientists. They're the ones that are actually helping people here. And so once you start listening, it all makes so much more sense. You're like, it's not tough to not take gels, just like it's not tough to not take water.
Yep. So for Ian here, it's just like you could be starting a long way out from your marathon to be able to handle just 2 or 3 gels on your long run before then you start going. You don't jumping from 0 to 5.
And a less experienced runner is going to require more supplementation on runs 80 minutes longer than an experienced runner. They'll be much less adapted to be running underfueled or with no fuel, fasted, or whatever you want to call it. So I'd say that someone less experienced needs to prioritize that more than someone more experienced.
Yep. All right, Moose on the Loose Perch of the week. Bring this episode home. It's been going for a long time.
Well, yeah, I didn't really have anything today except for the shit that I've been putting up with from you about these bats. Fuck, you carry on so much.
I carry on. Hardly mentioned it.
Talking in our own personal message group, talk about creating a villain team. You're creating a villain team right now. I think it's because you support Collingwood and you love to be the team that everyone hates.
Pies are in big trouble.
the team that everybody hates, that is what you're playing up to, and you shouldn't do that because they're just a bunch of kids, mate. You don't want the whole of AB to hate your team.
I don't know if everyone hates it. Sorry.
No one hates them except you.
Yeah.
Oh.
You need to get you. There's a message group. It's like, how can we trigger Moose the most? And it's just like just darting things out there.
Zaka hates him too.
Now, Zach has been a fan of us. He's working on some merch for us at the moment, actually.
The
Do
majority.
you know, Brady, I heard, though, that everyone got a tattoo except you.
Only because I haven't had the time yet. I'm gonna get two. I reckon I'll get 2022 and 2023. But
Okay.
yeah, you're correct. I haven't
with
got
the
mine
carry
yet.
on, you have to get the tattoo.
Yeah, I'll get the tat for sure. I don't think
Are
Archie's
you,
got his
are you
yet.
getting that one that the kid drew?
Yeah, it's the same logo. Yeah, the bat. There's a guy in Bendigo who's like got the stencil, and you go to it's someone's dad's next door neighbour's brother, and he does them in the shed or something. It's something real dodgy. So you got to I don't kind of have the time just to drive down to Bendigo. And
Where are you
going to
get it?
I'll get one on my neck and then one on my no, I reckon I'll get one of them on my my quad where Moose has got his Chico State one. Get one of the bats there. Andy's got his on his rib cage. That must have hurt a bit. Don't know where I'll get the other one, but yeah. So we've got to finish the year off to worry about where the second one goes. But yeah, that's good, Moose. Get around us, listeners, if you're out there. Bendigo Bats on Instagram, nearly hit 1,000 followers. The boys are doing a good job on that.
How long before the team crumbles like St. Stephen's? Because you know they're...
Well, we haven't put the money in. We're not like them, though. We're just got local kids running for us. Locals will just develop
relegation for St. Stephen's. They're done.
Yeah,
they can't get out, can they? They're done. They're fully cooked.
That's big, isn't it? From premiers a couple of years ago to getting relegated.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know.
No juniors coming. They don't have juniors.
Is that it, is it? I'm not sure where they're sitting, but yeah, I think they were in trouble. But they pulled out some big names on the weekend to try to have a good result. But I think they were second last in front of you boys.
Too late.
Anyway,
too much too late.
I don't really follow it past fourth or fifth, Ellie, but they'd be around there somewhere. What about your purchase of the week? You were spending some stuff today while Croaks was having surgery.
Oh yeah, I used the company card. I went bang online. He'll have a second heart attack when he wakes up.
Don't say that. We're getting some new microphones. People hear that Ali sounds a bit crisper. That's not because she's got a new microphone yet, but it's because we just changed some things after we've had some issues with her audio in the past. So thanks to our
I'm just a poor old fill-in with my corded headphones.
I've given you one. I thought you had one down there, but you just never use it.
No, you gave me one, but it doesn't work.
The only people that have problems with those mics are you and Moose. Croaks and I have exactly the same mics.
We've been using them mics.
Exactly the same as mine and Croaks.
You gave me a broken one.
You buy the cheapest shit.
I don't buy it. Croaks in charge of the money. He's the one having a heart attack when he checks the bank statement when he wakes up from this surgery tonight.
Jules, what about your TV as well?
Oh yeah, did get a little TV for the gym. Sneaky little wall mount too, so I can watch it when I'm on the treadie and then swivel it round, and while I'm doing a workout, I can watch it.
What, you bought that on the company card?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all It contributes to the content this show, doesn't it?
Croaks gonna love that. A bit of an update from Croaks. We did hear from him. So he had his surgery this morning. He went in at 8 a.m. I think he said. We're talking to Viv throughout the day as well, which was good. It's more questions than answers, though, I think. I think everything went pretty smoothly. There were no complications. But he said that he's still got some questions because they weren't able to bring the sustained arrhythmia on in the operation. I don't know exactly what that means. But yeah, he's hopefully getting discharged from hospital tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning. So big day for him and Viv, but hopefully we'll get some more news shortly, and then he'll be back on the air next week. So hopefully everything's going well in his life. What's coming up, Moose?
Back to work proper this week, and then this Sunday actually we're doing a long run in Geelong. It's going to be it's like the running company kind of setup. We've done it in the past before Melbourne Marathon, where we invite everyone down. We're going to have GEL-KAYANO out on like a 10k loop.
Tables or on the ground?
I'll bring me table.
Tables. I've got 2 tables. They're at work. See, I'm not going to let the people down here. So I'll bring 2 tables, GELs. We're going to have New Balance shoes. You can test their ratio on the day of the long run. And if you reckon it works well for you, then perhaps you can buy a sneaky pair at the running company Geelong. But a great chance to see how one could go over a long run. because it's a bit different. Chuck a shoe on, run on the treadie for 20 seconds or something, versus you get to run in these things for 40K if you want, and see how they're at the back end of the marathon. Are they going to work for you? So that's exactly what I'm doing this week, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to see how they work. So
what session are you going to do?
I haven't decided.
Okay.
How many K did you do the other week for that 15K race? But you did it for 30K, didn't you? How many?
30.
What pace?
I can't remember.
Mm.
What about 3x7? 1K float.
At what pace?
Total.
What pace should I run?
Do 2K float.
Marathon pace. What have you been running? 3:15s or something?
3:12s.
I think you should run 3:20s.
For what?
Yeah,
3x7?
Yeah.
You think I should do 3x7K?
Yeah.
With 2K float at 3:40s. I did that before Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Ran 2:20. Average
I'll have a
3:20s.
think about it.
That's I like that session.
It's a good session.
35K total, I reckon.
I actually like the 2K float, because it actually is harder. It sounds easy, but it makes it harder because the session's so much longer.
Do you only float 20 seconds slower?
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty hard, I reckon.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a quick float, though.
It's one of your workouts, because Toby and I did it first.
Yeah, I don't think I said 20 seconds slower. I would have said 25 or 30.
Oh, I think it was maybe 25. I reckon, yeah.
You might have ended up floating a bit quicker, did you?
Yeah.
I reckon that's a good one because it's long intervals at marathon pace. You get a bit more of a feel for it.
Yeah, that was a staple. We've done that 3 weeks out pretty much every time.
It is. It comes out 21K though. You could save that for Burnley half marathon the week after.
Nah, it doesn't come out at 21 with the floats.
Oh yeah.
So
sorry. Well, you don't do the last float. Are you going to do the last float?
You do the last float on this one. You do the last float.
Unless you're cooked. We didn't do the last float because we were cooked.
Yeah. Well, look how that went for you.
Yeah. Anyway, Ellie, what do you got coming up?
Nothing, really.
Nothing. You back
Just
working
training.
at all, or just full-time athlete?
Nah, just
Mum as well.
full-time mum.
Yeah.
The hardest job there is, they say.
She watches a shitload of Netflix, I tell ya.
Do not. Me and Tiggy are just going to be watching full replays of the athletics all week. She actually loves it. So she copies, when they call them out and they all do like a wave to the crowd when they're introducing all the athletes. she copies them all, waves back. Yeah, it's real funny.
What about Fred Curley not making it through today? Olivia and I were watching it today as well, same thing. I was shocked to see that. Rocked up in his gold
big upsets in all the events.
Gold ASIC spikes and doesn't make it through the final.
Oh,
they were saying though that his form hadn't been that good over the last couple of months.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know what's been going on, but before that race even, they said, there's actually a few question marks about him. So
anyway, we're done. Listeners, hope you enjoyed those last 2 hours. Can't believe we went for so long. Do it all again next week, Moose. What are we called? Road to Berlin Thursday, listeners. So keep an eye out for that on Patreon. Thanks for filling in, Ali. Really appreciate that. Thanks, Moose.
No worries.
Bye,
guys.
Special thanks to ASICS for sponsoring this episode of the Inside Running Podcast. Stability has never felt better than with the GEL-KAYANO 30. Updated with a 4D guidance system for support right when you need it and PureGEL technology for softer landings every time. Visit asics.com or your specialty running store to grab your pair today.